Live from LA Comic-Con, it's the Nighttime Show. Here with us, as always, the handsome, debonair man about town, the redhead in charge, Mr. Matt Walker is here. As always, of course, we've got the guy who is your hoe till he is your hoe no mo. Mike Glazer, of course, is here. Our guest today is an absolutely incredible guy, a phenomenal animator, Oscar-nominated director, best known for his work on Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo. It doesn't get much better than the freaking director of Storks, the movie that put my life on the map. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Sweetland is here.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've changed the world as we know it, Doug Sweetland.
And who are you?
I'm the host of the Nighttime Show and Pigeon Toady from Storks, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Yeah.
And Mike Black's job is safe. After that intro.
Mike Black's safe after this. It's so wonderful to have you here, Doug Sweetland.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
We just had you on a panel. We did a little panel, a chat.
That was the best.
It was very
so
cool.
fun.
But I wanted to jump in and talk to you just about your life and things and how this has all worked out for you. What are you doing currently? What's happening currently in your life?
Currently, I'm in the middle of kind of the Hollywood hustle. I'm out pitching.
Yeah.
For the first time.
How does that work exactly? Can you walk us through that? Just because we're all guys. We are all.
That's right.
You know what?
Dudes.
I'm looking at us, and all
Dudes
three of us
chilling.
have facial hair. I think we're all guys.
Uh-huh.
And we're all people.
It's LA. You never know.
It's LA. You never know. Anything can happen. But whether you're a guy or a lady and you're in this business, you're always trying to come up with stuff and things. So what does that mean to be out there pitching and doing the Hollywood hustle? What does that mean exactly?
So I kind of, the last 10 years or so I've been down here in LA after a long, illustrious career at Pixar. I was so lucky to start out there. Started out animating there, and I was lucky enough to do a short, to pitch and direct a short there, presto. And then after that, I was like, I would love to have an opportunity directing, but the gigs that I would take down here in this kind of first big chunk of my directing career have been basically open assignments. So I should say Storks was Nick Stoller's pitch, and I was lucky enough to team up with him.
Yeah, because typically on an animated film, they will have more than one director, or it's not always the case, but most of the time, there is more than one director that works on it. There's people, because it's a huge undertaking.
Yes.
It's 4 years. You need to have
hundreds of people
involved. So had you worked as a director with another director together before?
Yeah, most of the time, before Storks, I was doing development. I was co-ing with a great guy named Fergal Riley.
Oh yeah.
Film didn't get made. That happens. Storks worked out. That was a blast, as you know.
Yeah. Sure.
And it was kind of good because I got to, it was Nick's first animated film.
Right.
So it was kind of really good. Then so we had a really kind of mutually beneficial partnership where. And he's really improv based to an extent I didn't understand. Now, obviously, being on the other side of the mic from him.
And that's so not typical.
Not
for
typical of animation.
Animated movies. There's no
Right.
improving in animated movies. You do what's on the script, and then they animate
It is, nothing.
Most of the
You
time.
manufacture literally everything. You get nothing for free. So everything in an animated movie is like the product of labor and decisions.
So why was
There's
that
no
different?
tree out
How
there.
how
You got
could
to
they-
make that.
How did they do that differently? That's crazy.
So what happens? It's very easy in animation to just overplan because you have to plan everything to begin with.
Yeah.
But Nick's style really is like, and I'd never seen a writer like this, a writer who had so much disregard for his own pages. They really were just like, you can remember.
Oh yeah.
He would write the scene, get into the booth with the actors. A lot of times, two on the, we record multiple actors at the same time, which also doesn't really happen in animation.
That never happens
because he wants the chemistry between characters, and then he would throw the pages kind of over his shoulder, and it was just sort of freestyle.
Yeah.
And so we
very, very uncommon.
Yeah.
I remember doing a scene. There was a scene in the movie, Matt, where Pigeon Toady had a diaper on his head, and it was a crown. He was wearing it as a crown, and then all the vultures.
Yes.
There were vultures that
on
made
Trash Island.
On Trash Island. For some reason, there was
I'm so glad you remember
Island.
this. This obviously didn't make it in the movie.
Yeah.
You just instead you cosplayed your apartment as Trash Island. I've been there.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what it kind of is like.
That's exactly
It was
what
typecasting.
it is.
We knew
Yes.
about his apartment.
Yeah.
We were like, we need to get this guy.
This guy lives on a pile of trash.
Yes.
So were you improvising that scene and it just didn't make the cut, and that's just how it goes?
I mean, some of it was improvised, but some of it was just like, I remember script-wise being like, wait a second, he's wearing a diaper on his head, and there were pigeons, there were vultures, and the
crown.
vultures were
Yeah.
all played by Brian Posehn.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I
Amazing.
was like totally blown
forgot
away.
that.
Because I remember
Oh my
you told
God.
me about it like as you're recording going along, because you started off on scratch vocals, and then it was a big thing. I remember being on edge about whether you were going to get to be in the movie, and they were replacing all these people, and it was like up until
Right.
until they released the poster that said Pigeon Toady, Stephen Kramer Glickman. You were like, I could get fired at any time.
Yeah, the whole way through it.
Because Jennifer Aniston, you told a story about that. Like Jennifer Aniston just like goes to see, she's like, oh, what movies are you making now? Oh, I want to be in that movie, and they're just like, okay, fine, you're the mom now. All right.
That was
That's sort of
basically
how it went, right?
the situation. Is that Andy Samberg's best friend's wife, right, was the mom.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. Oh, God. Oh, this is a horrible time to blank on a name.
I'm
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
it's
I don't
okay.
want.
It's okay,
my
but
absent-minded myth.
Yeah.
but her
must be in high
voice,
fidelity.
but her voice is in the trailer, in the first trailer. That
It was
in the theater.
Brian Husky and
Oh, awesome. Great
and
improviser.
He's amazing. And why am I blanking on her name?
It's okay.
I apologize to you out there.
It's for the best, but her voice was great. She was very
Yeah.
talented, and everyone
She
was like,
she had been in Neighbors, I think, in Neighbors 2.
yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah.
But then Jennifer Aniston kind of showed up and was like, hey, I want to be in this movie. And then it was like, you can't have Jennifer Aniston on the poster with some guy. It's got to be another famous person. So they had to like. That's just how that's how studios work.
Yeah.
That's how
Right,
that
but
stuff
you
works.
made it through the gauntlet because there's only one Pigeon Toady.
That is unbelievable.
And there's only one Tulip, and that was Katie Crown,
Yeah.
who we brought in as well.
Dude, because like that is a role. I mean, Katie Crown is an extraordinary actress.
She's great.
And there is no one else. After watching it, there's nobody else who could do that part.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of damn people who wanted to do that part.
Mm-hmm.
I would guarantee you Reese Witherspoon would have done a backflip. Lake Bell or like Kristen Bell. Any of those, any Bells. Any Bells would have wanted to
Liberty?
do it. Liberty Bell?
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me? Liberty
Oh, my
Bell
God.
would have loved
No.
that. Yeah, but that is
she's cracked. Sorry,
yeah.
that's terrible.
No, it is.
I had
It
to
is.
say
So-
it with my dad. This is
Nobody else was picking up the
So
baton.
since
Thank you.
Storks,
You're welcome. I'm here. for you.
is it accurate to say that, like, because you're pitching stuff now, so have you had anything that's come out since Storks or anything you've made? That's,
No, I'm back
then-
in the development pool. So
So then, is it accurate to say that since you've worked with Stephen Kramer Glickman, your career has hit a bit of a downturn?
Yeah, I would toilet. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Why would I
Wow.
malign a toilet like that when they're so useful and they do so much? But
That
here I am
is-
using this toilet, which
I
honestly has been
cannot
there for me
believe
every time I needed it.
that you really
To
did that
describe
to me, Matt.
the nadir
Wow. Just
that is my career.
So
Wow.
should we put a warning out for any other directors that are
Yeah.
thinking of hiring Stephen?
Can I tell you something? A weird story. So
you son of a bitch.
Presto.
Now we're even. Okay, now we're even. Whatever it
So-
was, we're even now. You rat bastard.
Well, so
This is what he does.
Yeah. Do you need a director?
Yes. Yeah. Can you come in and fix this, please?
Yes.
Can I just say, because Presto was nominated for an Oscar, and so I got to go to the Oscar party, and went to the ceremony, and I don't know, and I was sitting next to John Ratzenberger, who is the good luck totem of all Pixar, and so this is before the ceremony, and I was like, yeah, I'm nominated for a short, and I can't remember if it's like, I was like, do you think I'll get it? And he was like, well, am I in it? And I was like, no. And he's like, no.
Really?
And you know what? He was right.
Oh,
And it
that's
didn't
wild.
win. And I was like, that was where I screwed up. I didn't get John
reminded me of
Ratzenberger in the short.
We had Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec
my
on the
God.
show. Parks and Rec on the show. I remember they went to he said they were like at the Golden Globes, I think is what it was. And they were like, hey, do you think we're going to win? And then somebody in the cast was like, these aren't winners' seats.
Oh!
Because they were just like, they're like, no, the winners sit over there. And then they didn't win. And then like they came back the next year and they were still not in winner's seats, and they're like, oh, we're going to lose again, and they lost again that year. But then he went to the Emmys for that other thing. He was like nominated for best guest star from like a soap opera.
No, soap opera.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, I'm going to my friend's barbecue later. I'm just going to drop in. They're going to show my face for 5 minutes. Uber, stay outside. I'm going to come running out after I lose because I'm not winning. He's like, all these people, they're all great. It was like Nichelle Nichols is nominated. All these great actors, huge careers. And he's like, I kind of think I'm in winner's seats. What am I doing here? I don't even have a speech. And he wound up winning. So maybe that's a thing.
Does
Some
everybody
people
know about
just
these
know.
winner seats?
I know now because
can
Jim
you
O'Hare
in-
told me.
If you
Now
just
we know.
Yeah, like
that
maybe
there are
you can
winner
check your
seats.
seating chart before you get there and be like, oh, I'm not going to bother showing up. These aren't winner seats. Yeah.
Well, just whatever. If they're putting you in loser seats, don't take them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Go to
that's
the
the move.
bathroom.
Winners.
Wait for a winner to
sit
go to
up
the bathroom.
there.
Steal
You
their
just
ticket.
Keep yelling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You
What
can
was the
game it.
Oscars like for you? What was
Surreal.
Like?
It was
weird.
Oh, it's
Did you go by yourself? Did you go?
no. I had my wifey
Yeah, you had
at the time.
the lady at the time.
Yeah, it was super fun. You know what it was like though? In a weird way, it was like an out of body experience because it's a popular short. So I hope I wasn't being too presumptuous. I thought there was a decent chance that with the support of Pixar, that I thought it stood a good shot.
Yeah.
And so there's the like the speech you have to come up with. There's the pressure of like saying it in under time.
Yeah.
Not wanting to get played off, thanking the right people, and then and then the moment's building up, and if all actually it was Jennifer Aniston was presenting. So
Oh wow, a full
Whoa.
circle.
I know
Weird.
it's all coming together.
Whoa.
What?
So
Yeah.
what short actually won the Oscar that year?
It was like the art. It was an art film basically.
Okay.
There was like 4 comedy shorts.
And then the artsy one.
Yeah, and the artsy one. It was so
Okay.
clear what the voting bloc wanted. It was
Okay.
like they want
Wow.
the
It
arty,
happens
they
a
want
lot.
the arty thing.
I mean,
yeah.
sometimes
It's
like
very-
it's
and it's
always like
not to-
like best
Great
short
short.
form documentary. Like 9 times out of 10 is a movie about the Holocaust. It seems right. It's like a thing.
Yeah.
Like you watch the Oscars, you're like, oh well,
Right.
that one's gonna win. Like you see the
Right.
nominees, you're like, oh, that's gonna win, and then
Right.
you just know.
What do you
Yeah.
have against Jews, Matt?
Whoa, 2-1. Okay. Great.
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, really, Matt? Well, seems a little presumptuous there, pal.
But if I could just
Yeah, please.
super quick, to lose, what it's like to not win the Oscar is actually a massive, massive relief. It's like it was like an invisible hand or something was like crushing me,
Right.
and then as soon as the Jennifer Aniston said some other guy's name,
yeah, you
the
got to,
pressure's lifted.
yeah.
suddenly my first thought was I'm in a room. Like my spirit re-entered my body, and I was like,
Wow.
I was like, I'm a guy in a room. It's like
Wow.
my whole mind just started over from scratch. It's just
Yeah.
like
That's
I'm just Doug
incredible.
again. And it was
Yeah.
kind of awesome. Then we got into the Vanity Fair party on Wally's coattails, and that
Yo.
was
Oh,
that's
like
great.
hopping into the mall poster where Humphrey Bogart and James Dean are having a shake with Marilyn Monroe. Like all of these actors that it's there's like Jason Statham and a Beastie Boy and Mick Jagger.
That's
and
so cool because then you're seeing all of them interacting and they
Yeah.
shouldn't be, and
Yeah.
you're like, what are these people even
Yeah.
doing?
and
with
you're
each other?
and the
It's so
only not
weird.
famous person there is you.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Oh, that is good and weird.
But you're one of the
I like
only
that.
nominated people there also. Like
Yeah.
everybody's huge superstars, but it's like you kind of earned the
You earned
invitation.
your way in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
you
for
have-
like one fleeting evening.
It's very
yeah,
cool.
you got your you have
super
the
cool.
you get a great thing that you get to drop first thing you get to be. If anyone says, "Oh, what did you do here tonight?" I was nominated for an Oscar tonight. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God!" That's a great starting point for any conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My general strategy is if I respect you, I will give you the gift of not having to talk to me. Like I will completely demur. But Sam Raimi was there,
Oh,
childhood hero of mine, Sam Raimi, and nobody was talking to the dude. And so then I couldn't help it.
And
That's
I have
awesome.
to say thank you for not
good.
respecting any of us and being willing to talk to us here today.
Yes,
No.
please.
It's very useful.
That's very kind of you. It's so nice to meet you.
Your lack of respect for us
Yeah,
is
no,
very
I'm
useful
gonna-
for a
I am-
podcast.
Very helpful.
I am
had-
burdening you with my presence.
Hey, Matt, before we continue this show, I got to talk about something that it's crucial to our show. If it wasn't for this company, we wouldn't really have a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Zoom. Okay, Zoom recorders, the Zoom Corporation, they provide us with one of the damn coolest things on the market. What are we recording our show on?
We're recording right now on a Zoom L8.
Oh, it's so awesome.
It's so cool.
It's so beautiful. We can do anything with this thing. Now, Zoom was established in Tokyo. It's based in Tokyo, and they have been equipping creators around the world, innovators in audio equipment. These guys just don't stop. Whether you're a classically trained pianist or a run-and-gun filmmaker, they have the item for you, the recorder for you. It will fit in your bag, and it will fit in your budget. And we've gotten to record our show all over the damn world.
Epcot Center, LA Convention Center, Ed Asner's house.
Oh, my God. So cool. So check out zoom-na.com. All right, let's get back to the show.
I had a moment with when I was about 15, 16 years old. There was a girl that I had a crush on, and she invited me to a movie premiere. It was a movie called Addicted to Love.
Oh, dude.
I remember
that movie?
Yeah.
And
Is that
I lived
Matthew
in
Broderick and Meg
Matthew
Ryan?
Broderick and
so,
Meg
yeah.
Ryan in a not a bad movie, but not a great movie.
Yeah.
And I was living in San Diego, and so she was like, "Oh, we could drive up together and go to this premiere." And I was like, "Oh, it's a date," and it was really
Yeah,
cool.
it is.
She was
It's
not
a-
interested in me at all.
That's a rom-com.
There was a guy there, and she was interested in him, but I went with her to this.
Wow.
You were the
I went-
chaperone?
I
I'm
was the
getting mixed
chaperone
signals.
for her date, right? But at some point, she's off talking to him and flirting, and I'm just kind of standing there alone. And I look over at the window at this theater that doesn't even exist in Brentwood anymore. And standing at the window looking out at the street is Chris Farley. And it was Farley, and he was eating popcorn by himself, just looking at the street out below with all the press and the things. And I walked over, and I was like, "Oh, my God, you're Chris Farley. I love you so much. I'm such a huge fan." And he was like, "Oh, thanks. That's cool of you, man. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez."
Yeah.
And then we talked for a few minutes about SNL and about Tommy Boy.
Wow.
And he was super, super kind, super nice. And he signed a popcorn box for me. And he wrote,
Dude.
"Stay cool." And he spelled cool wrong, which is funny.
Do you still have it?
No, I do not. No, it vanished somewhere in the 20 places I've lived
It's
since
on Trash
then.
Island.
Yeah, it lives on Trash Island somewhere.
You're sitting on it right now.
Oh my God, there it is, Farley. But it was like one of those things where you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm catching someone in that moment
Yeah.
where no one else is talking.
Yeah.
At the Saturn Awards a couple weeks ago, I'm backstage. I had the opposite thing happen where I was on stage and I did this panel, like comedy thing, and I got some good laughs, and Vincent D'Onofrio was in the front row.
Whoa.
And I was so excited because
Yeah.
we're backstage, and Vincent D'Onofrio was standing like 4 feet away from me, and I was like, oh my God. And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, funny job up there." And I was like, I have now I can say something back to him. And what came out of my mouth made him go, and walk away. I said, "Thanks, great job on Daredevil. You're so good on it." And he went, "Thanks."
Well,
and
you
it was
could've-
like, I could have said a million
That's
things,
slightly
Matt.
better than I probably would have come back with. What is your major malfunction? Thinking
Right.
I'm funny up there, which would have been bad.
Ooh.
That would have been better.
But it would be a better story.
It's a better story.
Because it's a better comment.
Also,
but it would still
you're talking
be,
about Full Metal Jacket,
Yeah.
which is a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be referencing a Full Metal Jacket than fucking Daredevil at the Saturn Awards. We're at the nerd show already. He knows
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. He doesn't need. Oh,
You
so
blew the audition
I
to
blew
talk
it.
to him.
I blew it.
Yes.
I blew
You were
it.
auditioning for him.
That's it. Which
No.
is like what
Next.
pitching is.
Yeah, going back to the first question.
Yeah,
That's
so
exactly
the
what
last
it
6
is.
months event.
Yeah. Now you worked on a thing since then, on a show, on a movie. You're developing stuff and moving
Yes.
on things, and then things sometimes a project ends up in a weird place, or things don't always work.
So, right. Things. So
I mean, like
100
I can
movies
only
get developed.
I only feel like I can talk to you about this because you've had so much success in creating amazing stuff.
you.
That like talking about something that has not hit the big screen yet,
Yeah.
or is being blocked in some way. That's gotta feel tricky. It's gotta be
Yes.
yeah.
It is tricky.
What do you do? How do you handle it? What do you do?
You just have to keep getting up. You
Yeah.
know. I mean, I do feel a little bit like I'm living an actor's life in the sense of like the amount of. And I don't want to like
Not saying rejection, but
but that's the word. Like, I sort of expect it. Like, and you're playing a numbers game, so
Sure.
you're really like you're canvassing the town. I'm the guy who pitched a story at a party. Like, I've done that. I'm not proud of it, but I couldn't stop. I literally couldn't stop doing it.
yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's the hustle.
Yeah.
You're literally hustling. You're trying to get a phone number out of a conversation, or
Now,
in
the
getting out and
panel-
put yourself out there.
Oh,
In
I
the
get
panel
it,
that
dude.
happened earlier today, you pointed out that animation is not a genre; it's just a medium. So, are these projects you're pitching now? Are they something you envision being done animated, or do you care? Is it just a story you want to tell, and however it gets made is how it gets made?
Yeah, it's funny. That's a great question. It's more the latter, because I had the thing that I've been pitching has been. It could be live action, it could be animated, it could be a feature, or it could be a series. And I kind of would just go in, pitch the story, and be like, "So, what are you looking for?"
Yeah. Well, especially now, because like so many things, they're like, "Oh, this is the live action Lion King." Like, no, it's
yeah.
not. That's not live action.
Well-
Like, it's all computer animated, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like so many things are just bending all that.
Well, and then part of the reason I wanted to pitch is because over the last 10 years, like what'll happen is there's an open assignment. It's something the studio has a vested interest in, which kind of gives you a leg up. But then if you don't have a vested interest in it, or you're like in development, I'm trying to find a way to, I don't know, make it something that.
Well, it's like, because when you go in for an open assignment, right, it's like, what's your angle, what's your point of view, what are
Yeah.
you going to do for us?
Yes.
And when you're going in with a pitch that's your own, you're starting
You're
from
that
scratch.
much farther ahead. Yeah,
You've
exactly.
thought that out from the beginning,
Exactly.
yeah.
Whereas it's always just much more political by its nature if you're taking someone else's idea, and and then taking ownership of it. So, yeah, this time around, it's like, I don't know, it's like a 50-50. You make as many things as you kind of don't. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, can I just improve my numbers if I go in saying, hey, I have a pitch?
I once sat down with John August for an interview.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And we talked a lot, and at some point, John August wrote Big Fish.
Yeah.
And we started talking to him about his career and his life, and he pulled out a list a mile long
Yeah.
out of all the things that he has written and
Wow.
developed on that has
Wow.
not made it to the big screen. It was like Barbarella and
Whoa.
I mean insane
The stuff that gets made is a tip of an iceberg
Yeah.
to a glut of stuff that does not.
Yeah, but the good thing to remember too is that like you are a very talented person. You've made some wonderful choices in your
Thank
life.
you. Thank
You
you, Ken.
trusted your instinct. and
You've
you have
also
to-
hired Stephen Glickman.
Yes, so not
Best
all
choice.
great choices.
That
Yeah,
I didn't even
thank you.
make that choice. I'm so
Hey.
proud to have been next to a person who made that choice.
Who made that choice? Who was the final choice
It
maker?
was
you
Nick
think?
and Brad.
Yeah.
It was, and it all kind of, there was like it all worked in so many different ways. Like in one, from a writing standpoint, it was brilliant because you wrote Pigeon Toady as much with Nick on its feet in the booth. Same with, I'd say, Nick, and actually it was Chris Smith acting opposite Katie Crown when we were just doing Scratch.
Sure.
But Katie Crown really like became Tulip in a way that was singular, and so it's sort of undeniable. Like, what are you really gonna like? It's kind of like Brad Bird as E
Yeah.
in The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to recast it and they just couldn't. It's like he's her.
Let me ask you a question. Who was the do you know who the person was that they wanted to replace me with, or that they were trying to decide?
Like, is there a famous person that could have been Pigeon Toady?
I don't think so. I mean, I
Really?
literally, because I forgot Trash Island until you just mentioned it,
Well,
and
yeah.
Brian Posehn.
Yeah.
I have the
Fuck.
DVD. I have the
Ooh,
on
can
the
I drop an
DVD.
F-bomb?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
On the DVD, there's special features, and one of the special features is watching the scene of Trash Island.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing the Pigeon Toady voice. I'm doing a different voice that I had,
Yeah, you hadn't found
hadn't
the surfer,
found
the
voice
weird
yet.
pseudo surfer.
And I had come in with two voices, and they were not sure which
Yeah.
one was going
You
to
were
be the
doing
voice. I was doing kind
Kind
of
of more
like
like a little high pitched.
it was like kind of like, oh, hey guys,
Yeah.
like nice to see everybody, guys. Like this, like weird.
I think you made a good choice by
That's
going
not
with
so
the other
bad.
one.
That's
yeah.
what you remember you said.
Yeah, and then I started, and then I like come down here, and I was like a lot of
Yeah.
cooler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Now,
Which is
we
the
had-
reason we keep talking about Trash Island too. Is my old roommate Kevin. That my
Yeah.
voice is that.
It's an impression of him,
It's an impression
basically.
of him because he used to come in and go, "Your life is a garbage pile." And then he would,
No
Yeah.
way.
And I made him
Yeah.
a T-shirt that said, "Your life is a garbage
No
pile."
way.
Yeah.
Because Nick,
his roommate is
he had a roommate that he was modeling
he was basing
your
it off.
character off of.
I know.
And he would never say who this. I don't know if it was a roommate.
Oh,
someone
no.
he knew from
Kevin
school.
went to go see it in the movie theater and was like, hey, are you doing a Prussian in the movie? I was like, yes. I mean, no. He just had to deal with it.
Yeah. Now we had John Venson on, editor
no
on
way.
Storks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great
really?
guy.
Yep.
I love
And
John.
I learned something from him that I didn't think about because I was like the way movies normally get made is like directors get a bunch of footage and they show up to the editors like let's figure out exactly what beats we want to use. But in animation, it's sort of a little more planned out before the editor gets the footage to play with because by that point, you don't want to animate a bunch of stuff you're not going to use,
Yes,
right? So you
correct.
sort of want to weed that out ahead of time because it's very expensive to get every frame of animation.
Yeah.
So
What do you mean? It's just an eraser, dog.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
bro, just
Where have you been, Mike? Where have you been?
you could save us
Just
billions in this industry, Mike.
God.
Never thought of it. Yeah.
Buy stock in erasers now.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you
gonna be
find
genius.
that
Through the
process
roof.
is very different for you? Like, is the making of an animated film very different than making a movie on film or on digital, where you're going to film a lot more stuff and you're going to have a lot more to cut from at the end of the day?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was interesting to see. Actually, Nick did. I thought for his first time doing animation, I thought he took advantage of the rewriting process that we do in boards and editorial, where Venson sits. He took advantage of that, I think, to great effect. And he actually was like, there were two ways that he would launch a scene. Either it would be he would write it on its feet in the booth with two actors. We got amazing two character scenes, and then they would go to the board artist, and it's almost like you're rough animating a dialogue track.
Yeah.
Or he would be like, he wouldn't even write it at all. He went straight to Justin Ridge, who's an amazing board artist, and he was like, wouldn't it be funny if our heroes fought the penguins and the baby was asleep and they had to have a totally silent fight? And then Justin Ridge, like, that was like
Sketches
a Friday.
it out.
Yeah, and then it was like Tuesday or Wednesday the next week, Justin Ridge pretty much had like that whole sequence like all beated out.
Wow.
And that's like one of the funniest sequences in the movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
one of the
so
highlights of the
amazing.
film.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm sorry. Like, can you break down the order of operations to get in an animated? Like, because in live action, it's like script and casting, and
Right.
then you go on location and you're shooting these scenes. Like, is there an order of operations that makes things clean when you're doing animation, or is it just it all happens at once and then it comes together at once?
I mean, it's, the script coordinator always ends up pulling their hair out. Like, there are people that take the brunt of a lot of the organized chaos, Venson being one of them for sure, because if you're improvising on mic, you're recording super fat, and then who's going to cut all that stuff down? Who's going to boil an hour down to the 3-minute scene that it should
Yeah.
be? John
Because
Venson.
is that drawn yet though, or are you hearing that track and then you're
can
drawing
be.
from it?
It is sort of like script. God, actually,
Yeah.
it's funny. I don't know. I don't even know. It kind of depends.
It
I
just
mean,
it
if you
seems
wanna
like
go from-
magic, so that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
you can give script pages to a board artist, and they can do a visual thing if you want to explore it that way, and then nail down dialogue. I think Nick, being from TV originally, and then being a writer, he's dialogue driven, and so I think he would do a lot of things in the booth, and then hand out radio plays to board when I was doing some boards.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
it's
so
it's
it's
'cause, like,
all. What you want to do is you got to figure out like the best way that the director works, and you kind of everyone galvanizes around that.
Right, that makes sense. That makes a lot
Hopefully.
of sense.
for you, is it script first, or is it a character that you draw and then you're like, oh, let's put him in a
No, it's probably script first.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And but it's funny because what a lot of people don't see coming is the amount of reinvention that happens. Like, who was it? There was a great question in the panel today.
Yeah.
There was a kid who at USC who was in a writing program, and he's like, "But I want to write for animation." And I almost wanted to be like, "Well, brace yourself, buddy," because it's
Yeah.
not like it's like writing in public. Basically, you don't get to kind of go off. The best writing in animation is you're embedded, and it's like a writer's room where
Wow.
you can't be precious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys,
Best ideas
that's
win.
yeah, exactly. So it's way more a little bit of a contact sport, in the best sort of way. You're cutting.
That's difficult.
Yeah,
huh?
it's tricky. So it takes a certain sensibility from a writer to really kind of get into the process and integrate.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Hey, Matt, before we continue the show, we really have something big that we have to announce. I have to announce it right now.
Okay.
It's a big deal. 2020 is a very exciting year. It's a big year, buddy, because it's the 75th anniversary.
Of what?
75 years old.
Who's 75?
I'll tell you who's 75.
It's not William Shatner.
No.
It's not George Takei.
No?
It's not Leonard Nimoy.
It's Sennheiser.
Sennheiser. Oh.
Sennheiser, the microphone and audio company, the company that provides our amazing microphones and our incredible headphones that makes us sound so incredibly
Yeah, we just got a
amazing.
whole new setup. These MD42 microphones, the HD25
Oh,
headphones. These things
I
are
love
awesome.
them. I love them. And these guys, they're the top. This is top tier microphones, top tier headphones. If you are looking for audio equipment, if you're a singer songwriter, if you're a voiceover actor, if you're trying to get into the podcast game, Sennheiser is the way to go. If you're an audio engineer, don't go anywhere else. Go straight to Sennheiser. If you have someone in your life that loves audio, this is the place to do it. Sennheiser's the way to go. Go to Sennheiser.com. That's SENNHEISER.com. And all right, let's get back to the show.
Is there any darlings that you've had to cut that you're like, oh, I can't believe we had to get rid of them? That's my baby.
Well, it's so funny, like, because you were kind of asking about the Trash Island thing. That was a hilarious bit. It was a great scene.
Yeah.
But vultures went away. So there's literally no reason to have their Trash Island.
And then it became wolves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
were wolves already?
Yeah, or it was like, I mean, it was a crazy early idea where storks tried to deliver babies and vultures maraud them. No, it was the vultures. I'm sorry, it was storks delivering for Corner Store.
Let me ask you. I'm going to ask you
just not necessary.
a question about.
Those are the best parts, though.
I know, in a
You
way,
know?
but that's the sort of thing. Like, that's where it's good. A lot of people don't. It feels like making a live action film is finite. Like, it's sort of. It's intense as hell for
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
Is there?
But the light's at the end of the tunnel. This takes years and years, and so it is a massive marathon, And but you're glad to have it because the material gets so much better the more you work it.
Before we wrap this thing up, I do have a question I want to ask you, and it's about animated movies that try to make you cry. Now,
I hate those.
There are studios.
I don't cry, so it's like, bring it on.
There are studios where you watch something like I was talking to some of the animators that were there at your birthday, and one of the guys worked on Incredibles, and one of the other guys, and I was like, it's a very fascinating thing. Incredibles is Pixar, right? Finding Nemo is Pixar. Finding Nemo gut punches people when they watch that. And Finding Dory was even more sad. There was even more things in there that were really like
Everybody, the beginning of Up. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
oh, the
Oh
beginning of
my
Up.
God!
Yeah.
Seriously. And then you watch
People
something
seriously don't like Up. I've heard people complain about Up because
You watch
they
Monster-
don't want to cry in the first 10 minutes of a movie.
You watch
They're like, they're
Monsters
pissed.
Inc. Watch Monsters
Yeah.
Inc. or you watch Incredibles.
Yeah.
There's no point in that movie where you're like, oh my God, I'm weeping while watching this in my living room. They're beautiful movies, but that's not what they are. They're just not. They're not in. There's no really heavy, heartfelt moments. So my question to you is like, is that something at Pixar that's discussed where they're like, we're gonna go for the solar plexus on this one? Like this is gonna hurt.
Is there
somebody.
like a thing on a board where like you need to have one of these moments and one of these moments and we're
For
gonna make you cry
blockbusters,
moment?
I feel
right.
like it is. Yeah.
It's like they do a lot of just crowd testing. What about what makes people cry the most?
No,
It's like,
seriously, because
You got to kill a dog.
Well, because we
like Family Feud, but for
But
Kill
for
a
a crime,
dog.
but for a deeply whatever
Survey
shatters you
says
into
kill
your
a
core.
dog.
Yeah,
Ding, ding, ding.
that's the It's just a wheel. It's just a giant wheel, and they go. But kill a dog. All right, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, no joke. I was watching this showrunners panel thing where like all these big showrunners were talking about television, about movies, and about how it's important to try to get the audience to laugh, the audience to feel an emotional response to your main character, like love, and then to take something away from your main character that makes the audience's heart reach out for them? Is there a formula or something that that Pixar is like? We're going to hurt somebody. We're going to make people feel good or feel bad. Like
I don't think it's like that. I think that's a real outside-in kind of way to look at it. I don't think that they're that calculated.
All right,
I will say, like, but I do think that animated movies, if it's in the best case scenario, it's going to take 4 years of your life,
right?
Like all day, every day. And if you're going to do it, it better be worthwhile. And so I think the Pixar philosophy, or it's really kind of anybody who's trying to. You want a movie that's going to last? You want a movie that means something to people, that means something to you, if it's going to be worth all of your time?
Yeah.
And I think, it's something like the thing I'm taking out and pitching now is actually like on the surface, it's a weird alternate dimension romp.
Right.
So
is
it's a
the thing
massive
you're taking
fantasy.
out and pitching, is it a Pigeon Toady standalone movie?
It is. That is the most emotional thing to me. I mean, I think.
Do you know how often I get asked about that?
Yeah.
How often I get asked why there is not a straight-to-video DVD.
I worked with a producer
Pigeon
right
Toady
after
movie.
who was like, can we just get a TV show for Pigeon Toady?
Why can't we do a Netflix Warner Brothers? Is it because it's Warner Brothers? They don't want to do a Netflix.
You have
How
to
about
go
Warner
back.
Network? They got their Warner's Network they're trying to
They're
launch.
gonna stream something.
Yeah.
Do they hate it? Do they hate the character? Is that
I don't
why?
know. It's
because Christopheria loved it, but then he's gone.
I love that this
around.
podcast turned into
It's just
Glickman
a
being.
Hey Doug, can I have a job? Maybe I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking.
We'd
No,
have to.
I'm fine. I'm
We're getting the
me a
band
job
back
first,
together.
I'm working.
and then I'll
Okay,
give you a
don't worry
job.
about it.
We're getting the
no,
band
Job
back
for
I'll get
job.
you a
together.
job.
There you go.
I'll get you a job. You get me a job.
Yeah.
We'll work together. No, it is one of those things that like I do get hit. I get hit up. People write me and ask me about.
Oh,
it.
totally.
I mean, not every day. Like maybe once a
Yeah,
week. I get
no.
like, when am we getting a Pigeon
He's
Toady
memorable.
standalone?
He's a
Because it's
sticky
ridiculous-
character.
It's a sticky in
Yeah.
your brain weird. Your friend said it to me at your birthday. The guys from Pixar.
Yeah, Teddy.
Both of them.
Teddy and Stacy?
Both of them brought it up to me.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Yeah, because I think their kids were running around doing Pigeon Toady
I told you
impersonations.
last year here, Lisa Loeb came and I walked her and her kids through the thing, and as we were walking across the thing, her two little tiny children were going, "How you like me now?" Just yelling it while we were walking. It was so funny.
Jaime Camille came on the podcast because you were Pigeon Toady.
Yeah, that's
Who?
very true.
Jaime Camille from Jane the Virgin. He was
Oh.
like people's sexiest man alive for like 10 years in a row in South America.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah?
weird. It's a weird thing.
Huge. Sorry, like
It's
he
a
was
weird
in
thing.
Secret Life of Pets, which
Yeah.
came out around the same time.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember like he was all excited to meet Steven because his kids were loving Pigeon Toady. It was like
Yeah.
a thing.
I think it's a unique movie. It is not like other movies.
Yeah.
It is quirky as hell.
Yeah.
It is very quirky, but I
Yeah.
love it.
It was a singular
But
experience.
Tableau way. I mean, that's like. I just
you know
rewatched
how
some of
many-
that. God, those are funny.
I think
There's
we
a lot
did.
of
We
fun.
had you do that was a one where I think Nick did just do the spinning wheel of punchlines.
He was just like, let's say another line.
It was like,
get
what is
weird.
dumber? Dumber. That was always the thing with your character. What's
and less diction, please.
Yeah.
Less
Oh, yeah.
diction.
That was a classic.
Sound worse.
Sam Berg called him out on that. Oh, you just want me to do the mumble my words thing?
Yeah.
He said it would.
The
Anyway.
best. Listen, Doug, we could sit here and talk about me and my career all day. But I love you so much. Thank you for
Yeah,
being a
man,
good friend,
back
and
at
thank you
you.
for
Thank
coming
you.
to do this.
Hey,
man.
thanks,
It was
guys.
awesome.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
Oh well, next time you're on, it'll be to promote because of Pitch, where they were like, "We love it,"
yes.
and that'll be
Oh
exactly
my
what
God.
happens. It'll be great.
Is
Knock
this
on
where's this?
I don't know
is
if
this
it's wood. That's
particle board?
plastic.
Particle board.
I think you're knocking on
counts.
plastic.
No, this is.
Oh, is that
I'm
wood?
getting-
Okay.
I could get a splinter off of this.
You
All
might
right.
be able to.
Yeah,
That's
that
lucky.
counts.
It's a left finger. I'm gonna get a little splinter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that
And
home with me.
that's the Nighttime Show. Doug Sweetland, you're on Twitter and Instagram.
Instagram.
You are using LinkedIn. Find him on LinkedIn.
exactly.
What's your
Please.
TikTok
And
account?
What's your Snapchats?
Breathe some life into LinkedIn somehow. Can someone do that?
I love LinkedIn. It's the
I don't know
best.
what is it. It needs something.
So
you
what
look up
is
Doug
your Instagram?
Sweetland on Instagram or Twitter. You're going to be able to find you. You're on there. Facebook. What about you, Matt Walker? Where can people get you?
Find links to everything at funnymatt.com, or Steven can submit his complaints about my comments about him at mattwalkersucks.com.
You made up for it at the end. You said nice things at the end. See,
It's happened sometimes.
what are you going to do? All right. What about you, Glazer?
You can find me at Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo on all the social media,
Oh,
and
I love it.
that's it.
Oh, and check out your other podcast that you do is so damn good.
Oh,
Weed
thank
and
you.
Grub.
Yeah,
So damn good.
Called Weed and Grub, and we just interviewed David Crosby, and that was a blast.
Oh,
so check out Weed and Grub.
Checking out. I'm Steven Glickman. You can get me at Steven Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. If you really want to talk to me on LinkedIn, you can. I don't know.
Dude, you got to give a shout out to LA Comic Con. Do your listeners know where we are right now?
Yeah, everyone knows. We are at LA Comic Con, the greatest con, my favorite con, the best of all cons. This has been a hell of a con. Thank you so much.
I don't know, just had to say that. Again,
Don't forget
sitting
to
there.
subscribe
Just
to the
sitting
show.
there.
I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye. Woo-hoo.
Oh,